What is the worst anime you have ever watched?
Fairy Tale. I don't know why it didn't immediately come to mind.
Right.
Fairy Tale is the one anime that I absolutely hate. Why? Because I wanted to like it so bad. It was like one of those staple animes like One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah.
Sailor Moon.
Hmm.
The anime is like, oh, well, if you like anime, you should check this out. And so many people are like, oh, it's great because of the powers. Natsu, he can eat fire
Fire.
itself.
Yeah.
He can burn time. How fire hot his breath gets. But I was like, okay, bet I want to see this. I watched it. I watched so many episodes, and this is why I know I hate this anime. I watched so many episodes, and then someone said, "Oh, you know what? When it skips is when it gets better. When there's a time skip." I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and continue to watch it to the time skip. I watched all the way up to the time skip. First off, the time skip fucking sucked. The time skip was literally, oh, they've been in another dimension for like 2 years.
Oh God.
Everybody else, the time skip, but for them, no time passed. So explain something to me. If they've been in this other dimension, how did they get so much stronger? If time was stopped for
They
them,
was training. What do you mean? They was training.
what, fighting each other over and over again?
Yeah.
That shit was ass pull. And then it came back being the most OP thing ever. And I was like, okay, they're coming back, time skip. They got a little tournament. I'm going to watch this. It was boring. So many ass pulls. The power of friendship this, power of friendship that. And I'm not even a hater of power of friendship. Come on now. I
Nuestro
like I like
friendo.
Naruto. I like One Piece. I like fucking Dragon Ball Z from time to time.
Yeah.
Fairy Tale overdid the power of friendship. Fairy
That's
Tale
fine.
overdid the sudden ass pulls of one moment you're this power level, next minute you're on a completely different power level. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous all the way around. So to answer your question, my least favorite anime is Fairy Tale.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another great episode. It is that time again of the season. We are here to do our hot drop and a let it simmer. I know we used to call it let it cook, but these days the TikTokers have created this genre that let it cook means that it's actually really good. So we're changing it to let it simmer, which means we're going to let it again build up, and maybe a few more episodes will come out and then we'll actually start to like it. But we're going to roll into our hot drop or let it simmer. We have about 10 animes, brand new animes that we watched. We have our notes on. We're going to talk about them a little bit, and we're going to throw them into our hotter drop category. Before we do that, please make sure you like, subscribe, let us know in the comments what you feel about our hotter drop. Let us know if you watched them or if you haven't. Hopefully some of these, if you haven't watched them, we'll put you on, or tell you don't even worry about it. Don't even waste your time. But that's what we're here for. Your friendly neighborhood otakuin. Your two mommy and daddies of this
Wait, who's
show.
the mommy?
He's the mommy.
I mean, I'm mommy as fuck, but I'm also
You
daddy as fuck,
look,
so I don't
you
know.
you birthed this idea and I supported it, so I'm the daddy.
That's what we doing? Okay.
Mhm.
So you fucked my idea.
So
Got it.
I
I got
fucked your idea, and we birthed the Otaku Octagon. But ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any other future episodes. Let's roll right into it. So the first one we got on the list is going to be "Am I the Strongest?" Now, I've watched every one of these on here except for that one, so you're gonna go ahead and have to take that one away. So,
Am I the Strongest was actually a fairly decent anime. Quick
mhm.
synopsis. So of course it's in a isekai. Someone died. He was reborn into a new
Yep.
world. But this was the twist. He was reborn into a royal family. So the king and queen of the nation. But
Ugh.
for some reason, when they went to go like check his status to see how strong he
Mhm.
was, it showed double zeros. Well, when we get the outside view, apparently the gods gave him so much magical power that it was in the triple digits. So when they viewed it, they can only see the double digits. So they saw double zero, like, oh,
Mm.
he's weak as shit. I don't even think it was like double zero. It was like 0.3 or something really low. So they made the decision at that point, we can't have some weak ass kid as the
True.
next king of our nation. So they
Back to the
left
baby
him out
factory.
to, yeah, so they basically left him out to die in the middle of the woods. Well, plot twist, the brother of the king actually went out to find the baby because he's like, it doesn't deserve to die, and to take him in as his own, unbeknownst to the king and queen. So this story is a story of a kid who's isekai into the new world, and even though he's been told that, hey, you have basically no magic power, you're weak as shit, he's
Yeah.
actually the most powerful person in the
Jesus.
whole world. And I'm actually looking forward to the show. So where I would place it on this list is definitely going to be a hot. It
Okay.
isn't the best of the best, but it's actually a very
Got our
good
first hot.
story that I've seen so far.
Okay, got a hot. I'm definitely. I need to look at that one. All right, so the next one we got is Helck. Now, Helck is definitely one of my favorite animes of this season. Just a brief on it. So Helck is essentially a hero, or which we think. So he's a hero that ends up competing in a tournament to become the next Demon Lord. Um, the reason why I don't have a lot to say on this is because even at the end of this fourth episode, there's still so much mystery in the show,
Yeah.
and I absolutely love that. Now, if my feels from it is it has a very Greek god esque to it, like a very Greek feeling to it. And you know, I like my Netflix, those Netflix original like adult animated shows that they do. And they have it has a very Greek feel to it, and it definitely has its comedy. It's definitely funny. I kind of got like a One Punch Man vibe from him. So like he's like a One Punch Man. Like he's very simple. He's not stupid, but he's a very simple person. He's always laughing and joking around, but he's absolutely OP. He's stronger than literally anybody. He can do anything. So I'm getting like the one thing I wrote down when I was watching this because I took notes. You'll be proud of me. Is I get a One Punch feel from him with the appearance of what I would think One Punch Man would be. So
Yeah.
he's super big, super strong. I mean, he looks like he's OP, and he's actually OP.
King.
We get a lot of we get a lot of characters in these shows where they're OP, but they don't look like it. And I like to see just a big motherfucker because there's a lot of times where not a bad guy, but there'd be a big guy that tries our character who's super jacked, super strong, but then he just gets washed.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we actually have a big dude with muscles that is actually OP. I like the change in that.
Yeah.
Um,
What's his name? Bastard.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it gave me that same feel. Like, fuck yeah, he looks badass. He is badass. That's exactly
Yeah.
what I want to see in my MC.
So I definitely this show is definitely one of the ones that it's a hot for me. Yeah. So next we got Reborn as a vending machine. Now
I like that one.
you'll be see, and that this is probably the one where we're gonna differ. So for me, Reborn as a vending machine. Essentially, for a brief little synopsis, Reborn a vending machine is a young man who is obsessed, overly obsessed with vending machines. He ends up dying from trying to save a vending machine and ends up getting put into another world as isekai. He ends up getting put into another world where he is in fact a vending machine, and he can't move, he can't really talk, he can only use the word cues that are on his vending machine. And then he meets a young lady who learns kind of how to communicate with him and what his yes and no's are. She buys food from him, and every time she buys food, or every time somebody puts money into him, his skills increase. He can change the food. He can, do specific things. Um, for me, honestly, like this show is extremely silly to me. I like my isekais, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a little much. So like for me, when Reincarnated as a sword came out, I was like, this sword better be able to fucking move. It better be able to fucking talk. It better be able to fucking fly or something, right? Not just be a sword laying on the ground. This is exactly what I didn't want Reincarnated as a sword to be. So me personally, I was not looking forward to the next episode. I did not care. This is probably not something I'm gonna come back to, and that's why it's a drop for me.
Okay, okay. It's a drop.
It's a
So
drop for me.
for me, I don't have the same expectations for this show as I had for, say, Reincarnated as a Sword. Because Reincarnated as a Sword, obviously, this is about fighting. This is about some level of swordsmanship, and it ended up being more than that. This
Right.
one, I heard Reincarnated as a vending machine. I'm like, that sounds really stupid. What is this going to
Yeah,
be about? And I watched it, and it surprised me. The amount of fighting that was in it was a surprising amount, and it
it
was
is.
actually
Yeah,
decent fighting. And his what he is to the story was a lot more than I expected. Because one, yes, obviously he's a vending machine. People use him to buy food to stay fed. But he his knowledge, his wealth of knowledge in vending machines and different types of vending machines has been beneficial. So beneficial that one of the
he's an
top
anchor.
parties in the guild, it's like, I want you to come with us. Aside from the part that you give us food, you also give
Right.
us a great level of support. And it's like I'm going to put it and let it simmer. I like it. I'm going to watch it every week, I'm gonna put it in Let It Simmer because I feel like it's going to get to a certain point where he's going to attain a skill that he's going to become even more useful. And I'm interested to see how,
Yeah.
some way, somehow, this vending machine is out here at the level of the adventurers that are fighting around
Yeah.
them, actually fighting, not just fighting some bullshit bunnies and shit like that. Like they're actually fighting monsters,
Yeah.
and I find that to be
Well,
interesting, and I want to see what he can do.
I'll I'll put it in Limit Simmer only because that's about halfway between. I am personally not going to go back to the anime. You can let me know how it goes. But the next one we got is the Great Cleric. So you can go ahead and take away on this on the synopsis for this one.
All right, the Great Cleric is of course another isekai where
Yeah.
the guy dies. He was a salary man. He worked for one of those companies. You know, the trope. He worked for a company where he was overly worked, overly exhausted, and he just died. Well, he was reborn into a new world, and he's like, okay, what I want in this new world, because obviously he got to choose his field. He's like, I want to be someone who helps people, but I also
Hmm.
want to be able to sustain my way of life. He ended up deciding to be a healer. He decides, hey, I want to be a healer. So that's the power he receives. He finds the main country, the main kingdom, and because through him acting dumb and them saying, "Oh, you must be some backwoods guy," they let him in, and he begins his life. I like this show because he himself starts off level one and he puts in the grind every single day, every single night. He's going through the most extremes to raise his level, to get stronger because he has a passion just for saving people. And everything
Hmm.
he does, every choice he makes is not about the money because it's like an unsaid thing, but it's also starting to be said more and more that
Yeah.
healers are the bad guys of this world. They extort
Mm.
people out of money, they force people into slavery, like they're the bad guys. And people constantly kept on telling them when he first got there, don't turn out bad. Don't be a bad healer. And he was like, I don't know what that means. Well, now he's starting to find out what that means. So I like
Yeah.
where the story is going. I like the passion that he has just for simply saving people and just wanting to maintain his life so he can get better and get stronger so he can save people. And I like the fact that he started off at level one, which is obviously it's a different turn for most isekais. So
Yeah.
overall, I would say that it is a hot, just at the bottom of the hot right now. I wanted to let it cook more, but it's still a really good show. I would put it hot. I'll still put it at hot.
Okay.
Bottom of the hot
Okay.
though.
So for me, I watched a few episodes of this show. For me, it's a let it simmer, only because I have a tendency to let other animes outshine something and not give something a fair shake whenever I'm watching something that's coming out. Like the next few we're going to talk about. Once I found those, I mean, we already talked about Helck at least, but once I found those, everything else dropped to the wayside for me. Um,
I'm okay with
it,
actually
it's
dropping it if you want to
it,
drop it to let it simmer.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's bring it halfway. It's something that I definitely am considering going back to once I finish out the rest of this season. It's not as stupid as Reborn is a vending machine to me. It seems it has a much deeper
Yeah,
feel
it's
to it.
going somewhere. Yeah.
It's deeper, and you can tell that it's going to go somewhere. So I definitely appreciated that. So I'm gonna put it and let it simmer. Now the next one we got, and I'm gonna be pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised about this one. So it's Classroom of Heroes. Now, I was pleasantly surprised with this show. This show, Classroom of Heroes, is essentially about a school of, again, heroes who are training to become the next legendary hero. Because back in the day, the legendary hero who fought and destroyed, I think it was the Demon Lord or something like that. I forgot exactly who it was. It was some kind of Demon Lord. Ended up disappearing, right? Ended up disappearing, and now they have an academy for heroes to become the next hero. It's as simple as that. And without spoiling too much of it, our main character, if you see kind of on the screen, he has like the white/black hair. It's like cut in the middle. He was the legendary hero in the past. Spoiler alert. He was. He comes to the school pretty much to aid and assist in the, which I'm assuming they haven't said that, but he doesn't really take classes. But he comes to train, aid and assist with the help of the king, who is obviously now the headmaster of the school.
Yeah.
This show surprised me in so much that there's barely any classroom stuff. Like there's barely anything about the actual academy. there's a
Okay.
great balance between school life and fighting. It's like every episode has fighting in it, and the fighting is beautiful. The guy is broken. I mean, our main character is broken, even though they claim that he's lost his legendary hero powers. He's absolutely broken. He's super cool. His only goal there, from what we know from like the first episode, is to make what is it like 1,000 no, or is it 100 friends? 100 friends, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is to make 100 friends. That's his only goal being at that school. But then he ends up helping people, training them, fighting, so on and so forth. So I think that there's a great balance of slice of life, academy life, and fighting. And there's fighting every episode. So I actually really love this show, and I'm definitely putting it in the hot category for me.
Okay. I'm gonna
So
check this one out.
it's definitely it has comedy in it. The action is fantastic. So
Yeah.
the next one we got is Synduality Noir. I know you probably haven't seen this one.
Not yet.
Synduality Noir is absolutely a banger to me,
Tell me
only
about it.
because I love my mech style animes.
Mm-hmm.
So this anime is there's really no backstory yet. So we don't really find out why the world is the way it is, except for a few sentences we get here and there. So they have something called, I believe it's the Tears of the Moon. The Tears of the Moon are what created this world. And this world is like a cyberpunk it's like a cyberpunk esque mech style anime. So essentially there's something about I guess there was some kind of calamity or something that happened on the world. So there's some kind of calamity that happened where now these aliens
Yeah.
are attacking people. Well, each one of us, we have our own specific like artificial intelligence robot. But to get a good AI is like to be the best in the world. Like you take care of your robot person, right?
Yeah.
And they essentially help you fight. They help you. They go into your mech with you in the back and helping you target, helping you shoot, so on and so
Oh
forth.
shit. Okay.
Yeah, and like the kid, our main character ends up finding one of these AIs in some ruins that him and his team are fighting. She has no memory of who she is. She doesn't know what's going on, so on and so forth. Obviously, as you can guess, she's one of the most broken types of artificial intelligence robots. She's a type 1 is what they call it. Type 1s allow the mech users to do powers that other mech users can't. But I think it has a very cyberpunk feel to the world. It's very colorful. Like your mechs, they like spray paint their mechs. They're like most of them are kids. They're literally kids.
Yeah.
There's almost I think there's like no adults in the world that I've seen so far. Really no adults. So that
Okay.
might be
Iron Blooded
that
Orphans.
well, that might and it's funny on my notes. That's what I wrote down. It has a very Iron Blood Orphans cyberpunk mixed feel to it. The
Okay.
action is good. Again, there's no actual backstory to it because all they've talked about is the Tears of the Moon,
Yeah.
which is I guess the calamity that happened to make the world what it is today. Well, our main character, he failed the mech suit training or whatever. He failed the exam over and over and over again. Like he sucks. He ended up finding that robot because they needed him. Of course, like the trope, right? Like everybody was in trouble, and he said, "Fuck it, let me hop in a mech real quick."
Yeah.
He hopped in a mech, and then she joined him, and then he figured out how it works, and then he pulled off some clutch move, right? So, but it's definitely a drop for me or a hot for me. I was about to
Oh,
say drop.
I'm like, ain't no way you
No,
said all
it's
that and
definitely
say
yeah.
drop.
No, it's definitely a hot for me. I love my mech style animes. I love the comedy, the action. I can't wait to see why this world is the way it is. Of course it's gonna be something normal, like oh, the fucking aliens came from the moon and then destroyed the planet or some nonsense. But
Yeah.
I want to see more about that. So that's definitely a hot for me.
Okay.
I feel like you should check it. If you like Iron Blood Orphans and you like Cyberpunk, which I know you did, you would definitely like this show. All right, so the next one we got is Liar Liar. Go ahead and take that away.
All right. So Liar Liar is. I'm gonna start off with. I'm gonna put it under Let It Simmer. So Liar Liar is the one that we spoke about before. I think I even described it like a male version of Kakaguri. So with this one though, it's different because Kakaguri, the main character, she was good at gambling. She was really good at gambling. While our main character, he doesn't really understand the island. He doesn't really understand the rules. He doesn't really understand the game. He's just a fairly decent liar. Like he can hide his emotions really well, and he apparently takes a test to go to this school that exists on this island. I think the island has like 23 schools, and all 23 of them basically compete against each other, and the whole premise of the competition is through games, different types of games, and sometimes it's gambling, sometimes it's a simple scavenger hunt game, but it's games too. You win the game, you get a star. There's special stars out there. So the show was like the way they everything they set up was fairly decent. I wouldn't say it was good, but it was easy to understand. So
Mhm.
one, but the main character, he's decent at lying, but he's not really good at games, and he needs a lot of assistance. And they
Mhm.
set him up at the beginning to be the number one student because he managed to defeat somebody who was the number one. And he only defeated her because she kept getting flustered and she thought that he was trying to run game on her, but in fact, he just had no idea what the fuck was going on. I found that to be stupid. And I was like, hold on, how are you like the number one player at this school
That's
and you got
wild.
flustered because you thought he was trying to run a game on you? So it was just stupid how it started, but the supporting cast keeps it going. They keep the show moving.
Yeah.
The main character, I'm starting to like him a little bit more, but at the end of the
Mhm.
day, he's no Kakaguri. He's not amazing at the game, and you want to see him win his next one. Next one, you're like, okay, how is he going to manage to get away with this one? How are they going to help him with this one? He has shown some impressive skills, but it's not to any significant level that makes me like him more. So I'm willing to
Okay.
put it under Let It Cook because, again, the supporting cast are fairly good. The premise of the island is fairly decent. I just need him to become better because it was one scene where the principal, where a girl was talking to the principal and they're like, "This is the reason why you let him come to the island, even with his low test scores."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's something else about him. Show us what the fuck else it is about him. I'm gonna need you to do something more, or I will drop you. So let it
Mhm.
simmer.
Okay. Well, I haven't watched it, and the way you're making it sound, I gotta watch Kakaguri first, anyways, because I told you that somebody put me on. But we'll put it at Lennet Simmer. That's fine for me. So the next one we got is my unique skill at level 1 makes me OP.
Mm,
Now, I was excited about this, and then it dropped from hot just to start it off for me. It dropped to let it simmer.
mm,
Now, the only reason why is because I feel this anime definitely has potential. But to kind of talk about what it's about, so young man ends up dying. He ends up going into another world again. Isekai, we love our isekais over here. We're the otaku isekai octagon. Um, he goes to another world. He ends up meeting a girl in a dungeon. He wakes up in a dungeon. I mean, like, get fucked already, right? Imagine if she wasn't there. But he wakes up in a dungeon and he realizes that there's monsters, so on and so forth. This girl helps him. This girl saves him, so on and so forth. She starts to teach him how you can find what your skills are, how you see what your skill tier list is, right? There's A, B, and C, or I think E and F. I think it was like F.
yeah,
There's S, A, B, C, D, E, and F, right? Um, and he pulls up his skills and everything is at F. I mean, the absolute bottom of the bottom barrel. He's level 1. The only thing is that his drop rate is at an S tier. Well, he starts to realize that whenever he's starting to kill monsters, his drop rate, the items that drop are either bigger, more expensive, or different than other people. So if you kill somebody and a carrot drops, that carrot is bigger, which means he can sell it for more money.
mm.
Or when he kills somebody for those, what are those, like, not Brussels sprouts, they're like little vegetables, little string vegetables. I don't know what
Oh,
they are.
bean sprouts, I believe.
Bean sprouts, yeah, I think. So he drops the bean sprouts. Somebody kills a monster. She kills a monster. They're like two or three of them. When he does it, it's like a pile of them. Um, he also starts to realize that in areas where there's a monster that does not drop anything, when he kills it, it does drop something that only he can pick up, and that starts to increase his levels. And he starts to realize that his levels are starting to increase way past the threshold of him being level 1, which makes him OP at level 1. Um, this show for me kind of, it was good in the beginning, honestly. I definitely, the only reason why I'm not dropping it is because I definitely see potential in his skills increasing. Because the last episode, his skills are increasing. I think he brought his defense to S tier and his strengths at like D now or B or something like that. So he's like increasing each one as he goes to at least get it to S tier level.
Yeah, definitely agree. Let it simmer. I hope there's something more, but as of right now, nothing has reared its head
Yeah.
yet. So,
All right. So the next one we got, second to the last, we saved the best for last, is Undead Girl Murder Farce. I don't believe you watched this one yet.
nope, not yet.
Um, it disappointed me, but not a lot. So It was really good in the beginning. The action was there. The dude is funny. He's really strong.
You was telling me.
Essentially, it's about a young man who is part Oni, part human. Oni is like their demon, right? He ends up meeting a girl and her maid who offer him a chance to not be killed or taken over by that Oni side. So essentially, half Oni, half human people have a half life. So essentially, the more he uses his power or the more he uses his Oni strength, the less time it takes for that Oni to take over him. This girl and her maid offer him the ability to sustain his life and keep him living longer. And we end up finding out that the girl herself, who the one in the cage is she is an immortal. There's these class of people on the planet called immortals. That's what they've called them so far. And she is an immortal. She's had her body stolen. So somebody cut her head off and then stole her body to keep her body away from her. And he said, I'll help you find your body if you help me, you stay alive, right? And she says, agreed. It's weird because it takes a weird turn. First two episodes are like, cool. Second half a second episode and then on, it turns into this murder mystery thing where this family of vampires, I think he's Dracula, I think that the main guy's Dracula, this family of vampires. Imagine this whole world is like vampires, werewolves, like immortals,
Yeah.
they're all kinds of creatures. It turns into this weird murder mystery thing out of nowhere. Like there's no indication that like she's an investigator. Like she does monster investigations. Like that doesn't there's nothing in the first two episodes that make that click. And so then all of a sudden she shows up out of nowhere at this vampire family where the vampire's wife had been killed. And she starts doing her whole Sherlock Holmes thing. Like I swear to God. She starts doing this whole Sherlock Holmes thing where she's like, if that teacup is turned halfway to the left, then that means he didn't touch that teacup until 12:59. Like it's this whole like Sherlock Holmes thing. And then you get a newspaper clipping that the vampire's son shows his dad and says, "Hey, these are the monster investigators," and it shows him. And I'm like, so did we just go through a time skip? Like they've been doing that. Like they just met last episode, but they've been investigating monster murders for like months now. Like it reveals it that these people they've become famous, and he's in the picture of the newspaper. I'm like, so what did I miss? So it took a weird turn for me. It went from straight action to like let's find your body to I'm Sherlock Holmes in a birdcage. Like it's really weird to me. I'm not dropping it because I like the animation. I like the whole monster vampire werewolf idea. I think I like him as a character. He's really funny. He's a smart ass. Like he's one of those characters. But out of nowhere, it took this weird murder mystery turn, and so when it took that turn, I was like, like when were we gonna find out that this is Sherlock Holmes for monsters? You know what I'm saying? It just happened. They just threw it on us. So I'm putting it and let it simmer only because I feel like there's more coming, but to me, it's like right now I'm not waiting for the next episode. Let me wait till the whole season drops and then I'll watch it all and hopefully something better will happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But all good because we
So
got the best one coming up next.
yeah, the last one on our list is Zombie 100 Bucket List of the Dead. This show is absolute. I'm just matter of fact. Here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the hot already. We got Zombie 100 Bucket List of the Dead is an absolutely fantastic show. So good that I'm gonna start collecting the animes pretty soon, or the manga, excuse me. The manga's pretty soon. But Zombie 100 is essentially about a young man, a salary man, right? This isn't an isekai for those of y'all who don't know. You would think. But this young man is a salary man. He gets out of college. He ends up going to work for a company that's very manipulative. Work him to the bone. Work him to death. I mean, his girl that he falls in love with is getting banged in the office by her boss, by their boss. And he's just being worked to absolute nothing. He sleeps at the office. He has no time to do anything. He ends up waking up one day and he goes downstairs and he's like, oh shit, I forgot to pay my parking pass for my apartment. Let me go see my landlord and pay this shit. So he goes downstairs before he goes to work and he sees that his landlord is eating somebody. And he's like, what the fuck? And then he's like, he starts turning around and looking, and then all of a sudden these zombies just start rushing his ass. And he starts running. I mean, this boy is athletic. And he essentially he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna be late for work, blah blah blah. He's like, oh shit, blah blah blah. And then he ends up finding out like the world's been overrun by zombies. He's standing on this roof and he's like, oh shit, I'm free. I don't have to go to work anymore, which all of us have probably dreamed about. I know I have. I love zombies. Um, but he's like, I'm free. I don't have to go to work. So this young man is essentially free now, and he is living in a zombie world. He makes the list of 100 things he wants to do before he gets turned into a zombie. Um, and he starts crossing them off. This show is absolutely funny. This young man has no fear. He doesn't care. He's more excited about the fact that he doesn't have to go to work over the fact that there are thousands of things trying to eat him. He does not give a shit. And he's all about drinking beer. He's all about having fun. He ends up going to rescue his best friend out of a sex hotel, which is hilarious to me. But he doesn't even care. He's like, I just want my best friend. He's like, he doesn't care what he's doing there. He's like, I just want my best friend. Let's go. That'd be like me coming to rescue yo ass. Be like, let's jump off this roof and let's grill out naked on a rooftop. Like, that's what they did. Hey, look, they're boys. But he ends up rescuing his best friend, and then they create a list together. I believe his name is Kencho. Kencho, he ends up writing his list down on top of his list, like pretty much adding numbers to it, because he doesn't write 100 at one. He writes, when he thinks of things is when he puts a new number down. Which, to be fair, it's giving me he's gonna die before he gets to 100 vibes, or like he's gonna get to like 99, and then he's gonna like save somebody or risk his life, and he's not gonna get to 100. That it gives me those kind of vibes.
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
Yeah. So because they're doing the whole like he hasn't written 100 things down yet. I do have to mention one of the episodes, kind of a spoiler alert, not really, because it's really just him about going over his bucket list stuff. The flight attendant shit was fucking hilarious.
That shit was funny.
That was hilarious. Like Kencho was literally like, when do you think in a zombie apocalypse we're gonna be able to wine and dine flight attendants? That is the dumbest thing ever. And then they roll into that fucking convenience store and to find a big screen TV so you can play video games. And all of a sudden those girls are sitting there and they're like, are you bitten? He's like, no, we're good. And he's like, so, well, are y'all okay? And it's like, yeah. And it's like, cool. So let's have a conversation. What do y'all do for a living? And they're like, oh, we're flight attendants. And they're like, what?
Ain't no fucking
Like,
way.
yeah, I was like, that's fucking wild. But yeah, this show is absolutely fantastic. But for everybody, that wraps up our hot let it simmer or drop. We actually now we had no drops. I can be man enough to like put something in the middle. I had one drop, which is the vending machine one. But that's just personal on me. We didn't have any ones we really agreed on that were a drop, which means this season was actually pretty good. Now we do have quite a lot of Let It Simmers. We're about even 5-5 for Let It Simmer and Hot. But last season we had a few drops, so we had no drops this season. These are some really good animes that are coming out. I can't honestly. I wish I could just let all of them simmer, even the hot, so I could just binge everything. But that's not the way the world works. And whenever a new episode drops, I'm gonna go watch it.
Yeah,
So
honestly, this season was pretty fire. We're not even including
yeah.
the returners, season 2s and season 3s, and they're all
Yeah.
good. They're all
Yeah.
beautiful, as good as they did not drop in
Yeah.
quality from season 1 to season 2. So,
Imagine there's 3 more in the hot: Jujutsu Kaisen, Jobless Reincarnation,
and Rent a Girlfriend
and Bleach.
season 3.
Bleach.
Yeah.
Bleach.
Were we not agreeing there?
No.
Rent a Girlfriend
No.
season 3.
No.
Yeah, I noticed you didn't mention it, so I had to throw it in there.
No.
So four. So imagine
No,
four more
no.
animes in the hot.
Imagine there is one in the drop.
And then
Bastard
Bastard
season 3.
No, Bastard came back too.
Oh, Bastard came back too.
Yeah, so
you know what's
that's gonna be
weird?
lit.
So
What?
that's ass. Then Eminence of Shadow season 2 is gonna drop on High Dive now, which is High Dive's been taking over a lot of like second seasons of anime. I don't know why. Like they took over. Is it wrong to pick up a girl in dungeon? They took over some new anime last season that I wanted to watch, and it's like Crunchyroll is not doing it anymore because Eminence and Shadow is on Crunchyroll. But now season 2 is gonna drop on High Dive. Now I know we can sail the high seas, but
Yeah, that's what I did regardless.
we can, but it's inconvenient
Yeah,
for
it's
me to do it
inconvenient
on my TV. I have to like go to the internet on my TV, which is just very inconvenient. Which I have to do for Helck and Synduality anyways. But like yeah, that's just what's up with this High Dive thing. I might have to like look into that shit. But
It's a lot of good
anyways.
things on High Dive.
Yeah. All right. We appreciate it, everybody. Let us know what you think about our categorization of these animes coming out. We definitely had a fire season of animes. We appreciate everybody. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment, ring the bell. We're trying to make 100 subscribers. by the end of the year. All right, end of the year. That's the goal. We want at least 100 subscribers. Obviously, we want more and more and more and more. Give us more. Make us rich. Um, we do this for y'all. You know, we want to give y'all good takes. Sometimes trash, and that's fine. You can
Wait,
argue with
I
us in the
wasn't
comments.
agreeing with you on that one. We don't
Yeah,
give a fuck if you care about our
well,
takes.
well, especially for the tier list, at least for the hotter drops,
Yeah, of
and
course, of
to let
course.
you know what not to watch, what to watch. Of course, go watch whatever you want. We're living in a free world. You know, every opinion you have is a fact, right? But we're doing this for y'all. Just do something for us. Please just hit that subscribe button and share our videos. We'd really appreciate it. We love you guys. Appreciate it. Peace out.
Peace.